Cooperation is the backbone of India-Russia ties. Russian companies have the potential to be long-term partners with India in aiding its energy transformation. India has been at the forefront of the transformation of global energy and striving to diversify its trade relations. With its abundant energy sources and appetite for trade diversification, Russia could be an ultimate long-term partner. But the bilateral ties require more support from both government and corporate leaders to grasp its potential in this field. In September, at the 6th Eastern Economic Forum (EEF) in Russia's Vladivostok, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a virtual address said, "India-Russia energy partnership can help bring stability to the global energy market." Indian and Russian energy ministers announced that the country's companies have been pushing for greater cooperation in the oil and gas sector beyond the US $32 billion already invested in joint projects. India's Minister for Petroleum and Natural Gas Hardeep Singh Puri referred to Russia as the largest investor in India's energy sector. Going green too. The novel coronavirus pandemic is still far from over, but an economic recovery has been underway. India, Asia's third-largest economy, has expanded by more than 20% in the June quarter on a year-to-year basis and is expected to grow by around 9% by the end of 2021. The rate is expected to be higher than China's 8.5%, assuming the effective suppression of COVID-19. The distinctive feature of this recovery is that it is advanced by the quest for energy transformation and environmental concerns. India has been increasingly leaning toward green transition since the recovery started, and its appetite has been growing. One of the examples of cooperation between the two countries in energy transformation is the joint venture between India's Reliance Industries Limited and Russia's Sibor, the country's largest petrochemicals producer. Set up in Jamnagar, Gujarat, the venture now leads the first butyl and halogenated butyl rubber production facility in South Asia. The facility became operational in 2019 and achieved a total throughput within the first year, establishing itself as a significant supplier of butyl rubber in the Indian market previously wholly dependent on imports. A joint venture will produce up to 120 ktpa of butyl rubber, 60 ktpa of which could be further converted to halogenated butyl rubber to meet the growing demand from domestic tire manufacturers. Overcoming supply chain risk. In an interview, Alexander Petrov, Sibor member of management board heading the Plastics, Elastomers and Organic Synthesis Division, said in an interview, Reliance Sibor Elastomers is not only supplying most of the butyl rubber consumed in the country but is also exporting its products. He added, Sibor is bringing to India unique technology, which is not commercially available in the market and the most advanced in terms of an ecological footprint. The project will tremendously support the growth of India's auto industry by securing uninterrupted critical raw material supply. This is of particular importance in the current pandemic, multiplying the risks of global supply chains disturbance. Apart from accounting for most of the Indian butyl rubber market, Reliance Sibor Elastomers exports its products to Asia, Europe, the United States, Brazil and other countries. The venture is also promoting halogenated butyl rubber, which is a more premium product. The project is a clear manifestation of the Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat initiatives, representing a practical example of technology transfer from Russia to India. Key factors. India is one of the fastest growing markets for butyl rubber and halogenated butyl rubber due to its rapidly expanding car manufacturing industry pushing for electric vehicles. Further to this, India is emerging as a critical refining hub in Asia to boost its petrochemical capacity. Currently, the country has an installed capacity of more than 249.36 mtpa, with local companies planning to significantly expand the capacity by investing more than US $27 billion by 2021. Over the past years, India's refineries have been expanding towards petrochemicals to capture additional value, the International Energy Agency wrote in the India Energy Outlook 2021 report in February. The agency estimates that the country's ethylene production is set to grow by 2/3 over the period to 2030. Russia's Gazprom and India's ONGC Videsh Limited, OVL, and the Indian Oil Corporation signed separate memorandums of understanding at Vladivostok. Mr. Puri also met with Sibor's management board chairman Dmitry Konev at the event. Renewable, nuclear energy. In efforts to transition to green energy, India has recently achieved a significant milestone of completing the countrywide installation of 100 gigawatts of total installed renewable energy capacity, excluding large hydro. It now aims to hit 175 gigawatts of renewable energy target by December 2022. If achieved, that would be close to half of India's current total installed power capacity. Furthermore, according to the survey of the government in New Delhi, additional investments in renewables up to the year 2022 would be about $80 billion. Commitment to net zero emissions could positively impact the country's growth trajectory. A recent Deloitte report has forecasted that India could gain US $11 trillion in economic value over the next 50 years by limiting rising global temperatures and realizing its potential to export decarbonization. However, unknowns of climate change and threats of a new pandemic suggest that the country should accelerate its energy transition. Russia, one of the key global players across the energy market, could emerge as an indispensable partner for such a transition. Notably, both countries have an extensive record of bilateral cooperation in the energy domain. Russian companies have been involved in the construction of 6 nuclear reactors in the Kudankulam nuclear power project at Tamil Nadu. Of these, Unit 1 and Unit 2 have been operating at total capacity. Unit 3 is still under construction. Previously, Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed that Russia is ready to build a dozen reactors in India over the next 20 years. Furthermore, India and Russia secure the potential of designing a nuclear reactor specifically for developing countries, which is a promising area of cooperation. India's nuclear power generation capacity of 6,780 megawatts may increase to 22,480 megawatts by 2031, contributing to the country's efforts to turn to green energy. A few years ago, Rosneft invested US $12.9 billion in India's second-largest private oil refiner, SR Oil, renamed Nayara Energy, marking it one of the most significant foreign investments in years. In September, almost all of Russia's major energy companies were interested in projects in India, Russia's Energy Minister Nikolai Shulginov said at the Vladivostok Forum in September, adding that he sees prospects for energy cooperation in all areas. However, the current bilateral exchange rate needs to accelerate for India to grasp its potential from energy transformation. Still coal-centric. Despite significant progress, coal remains India's most important source of electricity production, and it does not spell good news for the environment. To meet its growing energy demand and succeed in green transformation, India needs approximately US $500 billion of investments in wind and solar infrastructure, grid expansion, and storage to reach the 450 gigawatts capacity target by 2030. Therefore, more efforts are needed to expand cooperation with such partners as Russia. Dmitry Furlovsky is a political analyst and consultant on policy and strategy in the Middle East and Central Asia, and has written about Russia's foreign policy.
Now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today expressed hope that India-ASEAN friendship in the COVID era will keep strengthening relations in future and form the base for goodwill between the people. Addressing the 18th ASEAN-India Summit via video conferencing, Mr. Modi said, due to COVID-19, all had to face a lot of challenges. He said this challenging time was also a test of India-ASEAN friendship.
COVID-19 महामारी के कारण हम सभी को अनेक चुनौतियों से जूझना पड़ा, लेकिन यह चुनौतीपूर्ण समय भारत आसियान मित्रता की कसौटी भी रहा। कोविड के काल में हमारा आपसी सहयोग, आपसी संवेदना भविष्य में हमारे संबंधों का बल देते रहेंगे, हमारे लोगों के बीच सद्भावना का आधार रहेंगे।
The Prime Minister emphasized that history has witnessed that India and ASEAN have had vibrant relations for thousands of years.
आसियान की यूनिटी और सेंट्रलिटी भारत के लिए सदैव एक महत्वपूर्ण प्राथमिकता रही है। आसियान की यह विशेष भूमिका भारत की एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी, जो हमारी सिक्योरिटी एंड ग्रोथ फॉर ऑल इन द रीजन यानी सागर नीति में निहित है। भारत के इंडो पैसिफिक ओशन इनिशिएटिव और आसियान के आउटलुक फॉर द इंडो पैसिफिक क्षेत्र में हमारे साझा विजन और आपसी सहयोग का ढांचा है।
Mr. Modi said the unity and centrality of ASEAN has always been an important priority for India. He underlined that the year 2022 will mark the completion of 30 years of India-ASEAN partnership, and India will also complete 75 years of its independence. He also announced that India will celebrate this important milestone as ASEAN-India Friendship Year. Our correspondent reports important regional and international developments, including post-pandemic economic recovery, will be discussed at the summit. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the 16th East Asia Summit yesterday via video conference. It was hosted by Brunei and saw the participation of leaders from the ASEAN countries and Australia, China, Japan, South Korea, Russia, US and India. This was the 7th East Asia Summit attended by the Prime Minister. In his remarks at the summit, Mr. Modi reaffirmed the importance of the East Asia Summit as the premier leaders-led forum in the Indo-Pacific, bringing together nations to discuss important strategic issues. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will embark on a 5-day visit to Italy and the United Kingdom tonight to attend the 16th G20 Summit and the World Leaders Summit of COP26. During the first leg of his visit, Mr. Modi will reach Rome to participate in the G20 summit on the 30th and 31st of this month at the invitation of Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi. Mr. Modi will also hold several bilateral meetings, including with the Prime Minister of Italy on the sidelines. Following this, Prime Minister Modi will leave for Glasgow to attend the World Leaders Summit of the 26th Conference of Parties, COP26, to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will attend the G20 Joint Finance and Health Ministers meeting in Rome tomorrow to discuss measures to strengthen COVID-19 pandemic prevention, preparedness and response. The meeting will be held on the eve of the G20 summit taking place in Rome on the 30th and 31st of October. More than 104 crore 4 lakh COVID vaccine doses have been administered in the country under the nationwide vaccination drive so far. The Health Ministry said in the last 24 hours, more than 49 lakh 9,000 doses were administered and a total of 16,156 new cases were reported during the same period. The recovery rate is currently at 98.2%, which is the highest since March last year. Over 17,000 people recovered in the last 24 hours. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, one terrorist was killed when security forces retaliated firing of terrorists in Cherdari area in North Kashmir's Baramulla district this morning. Further details are awaited. The Union Government's special window for affordable and mid-income housing, Swami Investment Fund, has announced its first complete exit from an investment made for construction of a housing project in Mumbai. The fund has achieved its twin targets of completing the project and redeeming its investment successfully. The residential project Trivali Park, located in suburban Mumbai, was the first housing project in the country to have received funding under the Swami Fund. The Swami Fund was launched by Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in November 2019. The project was launched in 2010 and got stalled due to lack of funds. Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia today said that health was never linked to development in the country in the past. Dr. Mandavia said health earlier meant only treatment, it only reflected in the budget and government policies. He was speaking at the inaugural session of CII's Asia Health 2021 on transforming healthcare for a better tomorrow. Ministry of Finance has directed all ministries and departments of the central government to clear pending dues of Air India and purchase tickets from the airline in cash. The direction came after Air India stopped extending credit facility on purchase of air tickets. The Government of India has decided to disinvest Air India, and the process of disinvestment of Air India and Air India Express is ongoing. The government has signed a share purchase agreement with Tata Sons for strategic disinvestment of national carrier Air India. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled deaths in a road accident at Thatri in Jammu and Kashmir. He also announced an ex gratia of 2 lakh rupees each from the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund for the next of kin of those who died. The injured would be given 50,000 rupees. 8 persons died and several were injured as a minibus travelling from Thatri to Doda fell into a gorge. Rescue operations are underway. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said innovation is a key driver of the knowledge-based economy. He said India, with its edge in information and communication technology and an educated young population, has the potential to become a world leader in the knowledge-based economy. The Vice President was speaking at the inaugural ceremony of new campus of Sant Sohirobanath Ambiye Government College of Arts and Commerce at Pedne in Goa today. He said right ecosystem for research and innovation has to be created to thrive in our universities. In Kerala, the authorities in Idukki district have begun evacuating people staying along the banks of River Periyar following Tamil Nadu's decision to open the spillway of Mullaperiyar Dam at 7 a.m. tomorrow. In all, 833 families will be shifted to 20 camps as per the evacuation plan. A state of high alert has been declared on the 27-kilometer stretch along the course of the river from Vallakadavu to Idukki reservoir in view of the impending release of water. Met Department said the low-pressure area formed over the central parts of Bay of Bengal is likely to move westwards during the next 3 days. Under its influence, rains and thunder showers are likely at several places till the 1st of November. In T20 Cricket World Cup, Sri Lanka will take on Australia and Dubai at 7:30 p.m. today. And with that, we end this news bulletin.